Oh, well. It's raining here in Florida. Oh, the smile of your umbrella. Wait, if I say that, it's the end of the show. We don't want to say that. So this is it. This is it from Florida. Just as we start with this, it starts raining. Can you hear the thunder? It's like young Frankenstein.
I
can't do this.
I didn't know that was thunder. I thought you had beans for lunch.
Yeah, that's Stephen Scott. We left off with him with the Pink Tie organization.
Yes.
When we had him on the show, which was KABC, WABC in New York a couple of years ago. We haven't had you on since then.
My gosh.
You are, well, for one reason, I want to tell you something. I owe you the money for the appearance, and the check is in the mail.
Oh, okay. Right now, that means I'll get it in a year and a half from now.
That means you'll never get it. So, Stephen,
my mailbox was stolen the other day.
Well, the guy next to you somewhere. Can you look down here and see me on the Hollywood Square?
I see you. Yes.
Look down.
Circle
look down.
gets
Come on.
Square. There you are.
Hello. There you are. Yeah.
Right near Alice.
Hi. This is like, remember Paul Lynde? I used to love Paul Lynde.
Yes.
Paul Lynde was my next door neighbor in L.A. Did you know that? I know you didn't know that.
Didn't know that part.
I could tell you all about him. Matter of fact, I might. Paul was the next door neighbor. And Paul liked to drink a little bit. And I used to drive him home sometimes. I don't know why. He was my neighbor, but at first I knew who he was. And we were always about, I would say we were doing like we do now. We were distanced. We were separated because he never could say anything to anybody off the set. He was very private. And I knew that about him, so I never bothered him. But I would see him every day, just about, as he came out and he emptied his garbage, which was within that distance where you don't have to talk. And I had my garbage, which was also all these whiskey bottles. In those days, I was a drunk. And he was drinking a lot, and he would empty all this stuff. So one day he got uncomfortably close to me, where he had to say something, or it would have been really stupid. So he said, "Hello, trash person." So I became trash person. and I just love him. But, you know, we had the Hollywood Squares as a show, for those who don't know, that was on television with Peter Marshall and all these comics. You would have loved to be on that one, Steve. I think,
absolutely. I wish I could have been on that. That would have been great.
Yeah, you'd be perfect for that.
I would have sat next to George Goebel.
George Goebel.
How's that for a reference? Huh? I'm going way back.
You know what he used to say? He used to say, "I feel like what? A pair of brown shoes with a black duck."
Yeah.
But now
the background of that story. The background of that story is he was on the Tonight Show, and the guests were Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and I don't know if Sammy was there or somebody else, but they weren't supposed to be on the show. George Goebel was originally, but when they came on, it kind of usurped the whole thing. So then George Goebel comes out and he says, "Wow, you ever feel like the world's a tuxedo and you're a pair of brown shoes?"
That's good.
But everybody wears that now, you know.
Classic line.
Yeah. So what have you been doing lately since we
have
to catch up?
I'm trying to sign up for truck driving school. It's crazy, you know. We're going to be the last industry to come back. Comedy, entertainment. I mean, it's ridiculous. I do occasional Zoom shows, you know, which aren't a substitute for the real thing, but something, you know. But the amount of work I've lost from this whole thing is just ridiculous. But I have a show this weekend I'm doing that was supposed to be live in Colorado. It was a big corporate event. We're doing that as a Zoom show. And I have a couple of others like that they've kept. So, but yeah.
What is a Zoom show? Isn't that what we're doing?
Well, yeah, it's what we're doing, sort of, except instead of just you three with me, it's like, you know, several hundred people on a little screens and me doing a full 45-minute set of just talking the whole time. And it's material based. It's not just me just talking about what I did today. It's got to include some of my act, which is adapted to a live audience and make it work. I'm not trying to get closer to you, but I'm trying to avoid the rain. Oh, yeah. Well, let a smile be your umbrella.
Oh, no, say that ends the show. That ends the show, yeah.
Oh, wait, I just ended the show.
That's it. We're done.
So I guess we can do more comedy tonight. We
can. Yeah, it's I got some new material, obviously, from all of this, but they say comedy equals tragedy plus time. I may need a little more time, frankly, to get past this. But,
also, this is the Democratic National Convention, which is
that's
comedy
right. It starts
itself.
tonight.
Yeah.
It starts tonight. I'll tell you, if there's one good thing about COVID, it obliterated the election season, which I hate. And I think of all the commercials we don't have to listen to now. Politics is like the fifth story on the news every night now, whereas it would have been the first, and we would have been. I mean, one of the last gigs I did was in New Hampshire. It was the New Hampshire primary right before all this started, and they had the primary going on up there. So every time you turned on the TV, you were inundated with these annoying, ridiculous commercials. Elizabeth Warren burned our house down. You vote for Warren, she's gonna burn your house down too. This message sponsored by the people who hate Elizabeth Warren. In 1994, Joe Biden had a love affair with a chihuahua. What kind of man you want as your president? This message sponsored by the people who love chihuahuas. You've seen them. They're so stupid. We would have had a whole year of that, so we didn't have. And I tell you something, I'm always surprised when I see those campaign commercials that they don't enforce the same law for the campaign commercials that they do for the prescription medication commercials. We're halfway through. They have to include a disclaimer listing the side effects of all the crap that might go wrong if you vote for that candidate. Like, instead of hearing like, "Hi, I'm so-and-so and I approve this message," no, I'd rather hear, "If you vote for this candidate, you may experience bouts of upset stomach, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, rash, chills, fever, swelling of the tongue or throat, higher taxes, a deficit, depression, nightmares, thoughts of suicide, increased bowel movements, an urgent need to have them and an ability to control them. If you have an election that lasts more than 4 hours, be sure to call your congressman immediately." But luckily, COVID got rid of all of that. I don't see any commercials. So that's the one good thing, is it's totally like, I mean, the convention's going to be like this, Zoom.
Well, you do the best Trump impression anyway.
Joey's a great guy. We love Joey Reynolds. He's going to be my new Secretary of Radio. He's a great guy. Everything's great.
So are you getting ready to imitate someone else, or are you going to continue on with
I guess I have to work on Biden. Can't really do a Kamala Harris, but Biden, I'm working on my Biden a little bit. That I may be getting.
Close your eyes. Just close your eyes a little bit.
Close your eyes, yeah.
There you go.
Hey, listen, everything starts with, all right, look. Hey, look. All right, look. Here's the thing. But no, he's definitely not as colorful an impression as Trump, obviously. But yeah, I always try. Whoever's running, I always try to get in. Figure who can be getting the most airtime and try to get them down as best as possible. So I'll be watching Biden tonight and this week and getting it down.
Well, what about Kamala? I mean, there's a little Hispanic in her, isn't there? Is she got a little Latin?
It's Jamaican and Indian, actually.
Oh yeah, well, that's Latin.
but
she was born in Antarctica,
In Antarctica, yes. I've actually been to Antarctica. It was a hell of a. She was a very cold audience. They weren't very, but no, I did go there. It's on my list. I've been all 7 continents. But she has a unique way. If I can get it down, but it really is. It's harder when a guy does an impression of a female. It doesn't quite lend itself as well as when you're doing a guy impression. Yeah. I'll leave it to Maya Rudolph from Saturday Night Live to do the Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Why did you never join that troupe and that?
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday. You would be so great, perfect for that.
Thank you, Joey. A dream, and hey, if you know Lauren Michaels, I got plenty of videos to show me in action. I would love to. That would be an honor. I've been watching.
Why did they not do that? I mean, you're a natural for it. Well, there goes the thunder. Can you hear that?
The thunder came down. That was God speaking.
Yes, and every time I say something that's wrong, boy, I get it.
No, I mean, look, they haven't been knocking down my door. It's all about timing and opportunities. Actually, many years ago, I did have an opportunity to pre-audition for them. I was doing something at NBC, and the top brass there got me in front of Marcy Klein, who was his right-hand person. And I had a great audition, and she was very complimentary and said, "Listen, we want to take a look at you." This was in like November of that year, and they don't look at people seriously until like June, or that. So she said, "But come next summer, when we're looking for the following season, we definitely want to get you in front of Lauren." Well, as luck would have it, what ended up happening to me was 2 things. I ended up getting a test deal for Mad TV, and at the same time, I got a holding deal with Warner Brothers to be in a sketch comedy show with Jamie Foxx and Tyra Banks for the WB network. And so I ended up being locked up in the Warner Brothers deal for a year. So it totally, preempted me being able to get seen for Saturday Night Live. And then it never happened again. Then it was like, oh, there was my one shot and I got this. It was a primetime show, ordered for 10 episodes. We shot a couple of them. It was a great experience. I got paid for them, but it never saw the light of day. And Jamie went on the next year to win an Oscar, and I'm in my one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, with a girl from Buffalo.
Actually, it's from Columbus now. Buffalo was 10 years ago.
We don't have her anymore. You just,
no, we don't.
Was a great relationship because
she was a sweetie. We keep in touch. She's a good girl. But yeah, no, I'm with Nicole now, and she's from Columbus. She was in Ohio for several months there, and she left New York City like everybody else, and now she's living with me. So I'm now we're holding down the fort with two of us.
Well, Columbus and Buffalo have the same title. They're known as the Queen City.
I thought you were going to say the mistake on the leg, although Columbus.
No. That's Cleveland. That's Cleveland. But Columbus is also the Queen City. You know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they got a lot of queens.
Are they going to have to change the name of Columbus now? Is that a controversial?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm sure.
What are they going to call it? Amerigo Vespucci? What are they going
to? Are you working right now on doing anything with a regular show? I mean, you got to be on the television regularly. I hate to keep bringing that up, but of all the people I know, we have Brett Butler was on our show years ago, and she made it. She broke through with Grace Under Fire.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
I heard that one. Gesundheit. Wow, that was.
and then also we had Bill Sheff, who became Letterman's chief writer.
Yes.
And I've been a good luck charm for a lot of you guys.
I know. I'm waiting for my turn. Everything comes up, COVID and other silly things.
That's why I'm asking you.
Wait till this goes on.
Are you living in LA or in New York permanently?
I'm in New York, New Jersey now. Yeah, I'm still on the East Coast. I haven't been in LA for a while.
Not living with your mother and father anymore, are you?
No, but in a couple of months, if something, I might have to ask me that in a couple of months.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing okay here. I finally, after 12 weeks of fighting, I got my unemployment benefits finally. So now I'm like, all right, I can breathe again. It was brutal. There was a handful of comics or entertainers. We weren't getting our benefits because we're independent contractors and they didn't know how to handle us. And we're sitting here and I'm watching I hadn't had a gig since March, and I'm watching my savings account just go all the way down. I'm like, finally, literally within days of it being like the money came in a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, all right, I can breathe for a couple of months now. But we'll see. I hope they continue the federal part of it because the New Jersey unemployment isn't going to be enough to live off of. I'll tell you that.
Does she have a job?
What's that?
Does she have a job?
She did, and she lost her job. She worked for she was in media sales for Taxi TV. They're the folks who program all the stuff that you see inside the taxi cabs.
Joey? Who do you think invented that, Steve?
Oh, is that you?
Hello?
I did the Taxi TV. Wow, you guys put you guys in touch. Yeah, she did that for years, and she's been with them for 10 years. But no one's taking cabs anymore. They had to close the division temporarily. They love her over there. It was just, everybody. There's no work. So there's nothing advertised for. Restaurants and other things that she has as clients. No one's advertising, so they shut it down for now. So yeah,
this is gonna be goodbye Columbus.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so she's in Jersey now. Well, she left New York City. She was there for 20 years almost, and now she's living with me on the Jersey side, and we're making do over here. Cheaper rent, nicer view. No violence.
And you've had great luck. You were doing cruise ships.
That's the other thing. First of all, basically, my job is illegal in every country on land or sea right now. And, I can't do shows on land. I do also perform on a number of cruise ships. I was on my way to India on March 8th when India closed their ports. I was on my way to, and I was literally getting on a plane, flying out I was supposed to go to India, Dubai, a bunch of places. And that day they canceled it. And that was the last gig I was supposed to go to, and that was it.
Should I stock up on basmati rice? I mean, because if they're closing their ports,
I don't know if they've opened them again, but yeah, that was it. And there's been no cruises ever since. I had a cruise in May, was canceled. This year I had cruises booked all around the world. I was going to add 8 new countries to my list. I was going to finally join the World Century Travelers Club and get over 100 countries. I was so psyched, and now they've all been canceled on me. So I'm sitting in good old New Jersey here instead.
Well, I think somewhere along the line, you have to get a new agent.
Yeah, well, I need an agent that can get rid of COVID, and that'll be good. Someone who knows the governor. Yeah, no, it's not that. It's just, some of the places that I've had booked, like I said, I had a major gig later this year scheduled in Minnesota. They didn't cancel it. They're doing it as a Zoom show. So that's good. At least I kept that. The one I'm doing next week, same thing. But most of them got canceled. It's hard to, it's not the same kind of thing. It's a Band-Aid to do a Zoom show, but comedy really needs that live audience feel. And so when you can't, by definition, our job requires social gathering, mass gatherings, and you can't do that. I know they just, in New York City, they were trying to do shows outside. They just canceled that. They told people that as of 2 days ago, you can't do comedy shows in New York anymore. So not many options for us. Truck driving school. That's about it.
Well, actually, you could do the USO tours because there's always going to be a war.
Yeah, there's going to be. Well, we got a war at home right now. I don't know what they're doing with the USO stuff. I'm sure it's the same thing. You can't have people. Look, Americans can't go to Europe and places right now, so it would be very limited to even do that stuff.
Well, what we really should do is get the Taliban all in one gathering.
Yeah,
and let them breathe on each other.
There we go. That could be a show. I'd watch that.
That's right. One of the things that Bob Hope was famous for was the great USO tours. In addition to being a superstar with everything else.
Absolutely.
But those tours, he was a hero until he backed the Vietnam War with Nixon. You probably know that story.
I do, and I always love doing shows for the military. It really feels good to be able to do those when I can. I've done a handful. I would happily do more. Even shows for the frontline workers and stuff. We've done a few online to raise money for them. But yeah, you want to get back to that live feel. In fact, there was some talk about the show that I'm doing this weekend of maybe having me perform in front of like 10 people, socially distanced, and then Zooming it to the rest of the folks in Colorado. So it would be a combination. I'm like, that may work, so at least it feels a little bit like a stand-up show. But we'll see. We're doing the best we can. But really, it comes down to people wearing masks, taking it seriously. Just, I know how serious, if you're from here, we had it as bad as you can get it. My mom had COVID actually early on and was in the hospital, but made a full recovery, thank God.
Wow.
But, you see how real it is when you're right on the front lines of it. And New York figured out, and New Jersey, how to corral it and bring the numbers down. And we had no PPE, we had no ventilators, we had no testing. And now you see states that do have the PPE and the ventilators and the testing, and their numbers are skyrocketing. Like, you didn't learn from our examples. So now I thought at one point maybe later this year we'd start working again. But now seeing the numbers everywhere else, the ships are all in Florida. Condos, I had a number of those canceled, all in Florida. So with numbers that high, it just doesn't look realistic for now. So
yeah, and also there are people who are not going to be around too long.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about Mickey Freeman. He said you only have to do it once. There's no return engagements.
I don't like to fly Virgin Airways because I hear they don't go all the way.
Everything with him was great.
My favorite line of Mickey's was, you probably know this, but he would say,
I once stayed at a hotel that was so terrible that even on their postcards the beds weren't made.
And of course, your father was good friends with him at the Friars.
Oh, we all were. Yeah, we all at the Friars Club. Yeah, that's another thing we miss. We can't use the Friars Club right now, so that's all closed up. Just everything. It's such a weird time. It's definitely historic. But look, I think because of what I said before, my mom had it, and we know people who've had it or some who passed away. You just start to realize the most important thing is just staying safe. The livelihood is hurting pretty bad, and I'd like to get that back on. But most important, we got to just stay safe, and then we can figure out the rest. But I hope it happens sooner than later. That's all. Yeah,
unfortunately, you don't have any kids.
That's none that I know of, Joey.
Well, not anyone you have to send to school.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know how parents are dealing with that. It's like so impossible right now.
Yeah.
By the way, maybe you can explain this to me, Joe, being in Florida. But like I'm seeing schools are opening at the beginning of August in places in the country. What kind of crap is that? We always enjoyed our summer here. School never opened before Labor Day, and I see they're talking about kids going back to school. I'm like, oh my God, in the summer? That's horrible.
Yeah, but it ends in April.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
April or May, yeah.
No.
There's a little bit of an advantage here, you know.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is that we have a guy in the school district in Miami who's a superintendent. He's the commissioner of schools. And in New York, they have a grand title for somebody who runs a school. They call him the chancellor. You know, it's even better than an emperor.
Schools chancellor.
The chancellor of schools. The guy down here wanted to hire for New York, and he turned it down. Well, there's a lot of reasons. The quality of life here, but no one saw this coming.
Oh yeah.
You know, I could just picture him having taken that job and then saying, "Oh my God, what did I do?" There's nothing. What we have, I have grandchildren, and they're going to school in a county that didn't have much activity. No one died, and there's no one on respirators. So that's Hernando County, and I shouldn't say it because people are going to go there now.
They're going to
it's it's a great area of a place nobody wants to be.
It's like what is it like? Is it away from? Is it like in Central Florida where it's quiet?
Oh, it's too far away from Disney.
Is it in the swamp?
No, and it's not, and it doesn't have anything you want to see. There's no alligators. They don't even.
There's
have
no COVID, but tons of pythons and alligators.
No, nothing. No fun. There's a panther, and that's the hockey team.
Yeah, right.
You know, there's nothing here that in that place. It's nothing Florida, nowhere Florida. And so my daughter works there, and I said, how do they get money? Where does money come from? She says, well, we have a lot of people who've been here for a long time, but they did have a little problem with that hanging tree during the Black Matters. And she said they try to create that as a legend so they could interest people to come to see the hanging tree. I said, you don't want people to come to see this tree.
Wow.
It's not you want to saw it down, you dope.
Oh gosh, that's it.
You're gonna love this. Today, I just went for a walk on the golf course behind me here, and you remember when we were kids, we had the black ugly duckling. Remember that? Did you ever read that fairy tale?
Oh yeah.
The ugly duckling was black.
Yeah.
And so I just saw an ugly duckling that's white, and because of inclusion, it had a black tail.
There you go.
I said, now I said, black and white real ducks matter.
Black ducklings matter.
That's right. But that's a true story. I can show you the picture of it after we get off the air here. But I did a little video of it today too, as a matter of fact. There's not for TikTok because I don't want to be on a Chinese network. Why should I have 40 million people enjoy me when I can have 8 or 10 that hate me? It's real easy. The numbers are wrong on this on my Facebook. You ever notice how many clicks you get? Do you get a lot of clicks?
I don't even know where to look. I don't even look. I clicks probably people clicking off.
Yeah, well, before you get clicked off on this show, let me tell you something about Jay. Jay is a numbers guy. He's a statistical error because he never makes a mistake, and he himself is a mistake, in my opinion. Because he sits there and counts how many people watch this. But it doesn't say anything else about who they are, how long they're there, or anything, or what they bought if you did a commercial. Right. So what the hell good is it? What are we trying to do? Assemble as many people as we can? Jay, this is the question.
Yeah, it's called Cume, and I have no idea what the answer is for that. I think they can, if they can break down who they are, they can break it down by demographics and blah blah blah. I
thought they did all that. No, I didn't. I thought they did ages, at least ages and stuff, and locations.
I think they do, and our producer might be able to help us out.
Like when Joey was on the radio, a lot of Hawaiians.
That's right.
Because it was a primetime show for them.
More Hawaiians.
Well, don't forget, I did the show a lot of years from Maui.
Did I know that you did it?
Yeah, I know where you did it. Yeah,
with Wayne Dyer, I did it all.
Oh wow, that's a great. Why did you ever leave? That's the best place in the world to work. You just to get a paycheck.
No, it's not. When I was leaving, they just opened a Costco. It was the first one.
Oh,
and Oprah has a house in Hana. She owns half of that part of the island.
Oh yeah,
and she's never there. She's over smoking weed with Gail King or something. But I'm Willie Nelson's lawn. Willie lives there, And Ram Dass, who's a Jew from Long Island that calls himself Ram Dass so that he could have some dignitary position in the Indian culture. You know. But he was very well respected, incidentally. I shouldn't make fun of him too much because he was a good spiritual leader, and he had leukemia, and Wayne Dyer took good care of him, incidentally. And then Wayne died of leukemia, not from him. But I mean, we're all connected in a way. At some time or another, something is going to happen to you where you're going to say it's 6 degrees, not of separation.
Of Joey Reynolds.
Yeah. No, you better have 6 degrees right now and a mask.
Forget Kevin Bacon. 6 degrees of Joey Reynolds. What are you watching sports and stuff now that they're playing ball?
Well, yeah, the Marlins actually had one of the guys got to a base.
Well, there's only one guy left. The rest of the team got COVID.
Who was
and
it
he's winning a lot of games.
Who had 3 home runs yesterday? Somebody had 3 home runs in a row. What was that?
I don't even know.
I forgot what team that was. Frank would know what it is.
I don't think there was anyone else in the outfield. They were all sick.
No, I mean, this whole baseball thing is amazing with the audience that's not there.
I know.
I mean, I don't know how you would work in a club without an audience. How would you do that?
I know. I heard the Mets were playing the other day. They're so badly that half the cardboard cutouts left in the 6th inning. My mom has actually been watching. It's funny. My mom's not a sports fan. She knows nothing about sports. But she's been, she's got nothing else to do, so she's watching the baseball now. And she's like, I'm on the phone. She's like, oh, sweetie, I got to go. But I thought you'd like to know that because the Yankees were playing Baltimore Orioles, right? So she goes, I thought you'd like to know the Yankees are up 5-3 over the Oreos.
The Oreos.
Not the Orioles, the Oreos, the cookie. I was, that's great, Mom. How are the Mets doing? Are they beating the Fig Newtons? Did you catch the score of that? Who's winning the Chips Ahoy Malamar game? I got money on that if you can find out. I didn't have the heart to tell her.
Well, I used to enjoy you over at Dangerfields, where Rodney would never work. He'd never work in his own club.
Oh, he was. They named it after him, but yeah.
But
there are people who still go there thinking he's going to be there, even though he's been dead for like 20 years.
Yeah, well, that great movie he made with Bill Murray.
Caddyshack.
Yeah,
classic. It's 40 years old this summer.
No, doesn't seem possible. Wow.
Right, and it still holds up. It's still hilarious.
Oh yeah, well, funny is funny. Like Mickey Freeman always says, when you laugh, that's funny. That's good.
And what else is 40 years old? The same Airplane, same summer. Airplane.
Oh, I watched the whole series a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
it was great to binge on that one, and also the silent, the Mel Brooks stuff is all.
Oh,
I
Mel
love
Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
He's the best. History of the World, producers, all that.
Yeah, so we're in good company with all of these guys. I mean, you were when you were at the Friars.
Oh yeah.
Did anything rub off? Did Robert De Niro discover you or something?
I got to perform for Robert De Niro. It was actually kind of cool. This was about 1.5 years ago. I did a show. Billy Crystal they were doing a tribute dinner for Billy Crystal. And what they do is the night before the tribute, they have what's called an Abbott's dinner. It's an old Friars tradition where they invite the honoree and a lot of the dais and their special guests for a private dinner at the Friars Club. It's about maybe 70 people, right, in the diner. Yeah. All at one big horseshoe table. It's very intimate. And so they had me and, our good buddy Tom Cotter. They had us there as the entertainment. And it's weird because, you're standing in a corner. There's no, but I was performing and there right in front of me, one of my personal comedy heroes, Billy Crystal, like literally 4 feet away from me. And next to him, Robert De Niro and also Rob Reiner and Bob Costas and a whole bunch of illustrious people that I've always admired. And it was just so surreal to be performing and doing the shtick. And then they come up to you afterwards. And it's not like when you meet a celebrity, you're like, oh, Mr. Crystal, big. They come up to you and they're like, hilarious, man. That was brilliant. You were so funny. And then Robert De Niro, very funny, And it's just so cool. So I have it on video where they're actually laughing at my stuff. And it was a real surreal experience. And it was great to meet those guys finally. And
weren't you impressed when Jay and I were laughing at your stuff?
Always, yeah. but that you don't have the credits that De Niro and Billy Crystal do. And I became admirers of yours when I was already an adult. Them I've been watching since I'm a kid.
You got out of that one.
And also Bob Costas, who is one of my favorite broadcasters. Yeah. I'm such a man. He comes over, Steven Scott, Bob Costas, great to meet you. Like I didn't know who he was, and we talked for like 45 minutes, and me and Tom and him, and it was just when you're in that environment. where it's not, where it's a safe environment, and you can just hang out with these people as people. It puts a big smile on your face when people that you've admired that you get to know socially, and they know you. That's one of the fun things about the Friars. And you mentioned guys like Mickey Freeman and Buddy Hackett. Buddy Hackett used to hold court for us. He'd sit around with the young comics and he'd teach comedy school basically, and we could ask him whatever we wanted. And that was one of the greatest parts about the Friars. And I'm a member 25 years. I'm the only member who's a member 25 years, still into the age of 50. I'm the youngest, oldest member. And so, so I remember those things that we used to do. And I'm so grateful that I've performed, even guys like Freddie Roman and Dick Capri, who, they were like professors for us. They took us on the road with them, and they really helped us along. And so I'm so honored for all those guys that I could say I knew them and worked with them. And I don't know if anybody has that today quite to that extent that our generation did. So I'm real grateful.
Well, you had good friends with Tom Cotter. He was on America's Got Talent.
Yep.
And how did they escape? How did you escape that one?
What's that?
How did you escape from being on that show?
I was on the show. I didn't go as far as he did. He was the runner-up. I did a couple of rounds on there 3 seasons ago, and it was it was a good experience. I mean, it's scary, it's nerve-wracking, but I did very well. I got a standing ovation from the 2,000 people at the Pasadena Civic Auditorium and all 4 judges, including Simon Cowell. So I have that on video where Simon Cowell stands up. I mean, that's my badge of honor right there. That's all I need. I didn't need to win the thing, just getting him to stand up. But I did a couple of rounds on there, and then, it gets political after a while. I always say the show is really about the backstory. It's always the Iraqi war veteran or the person, who had was set on fire or lost a foot or, survived cancer or was an orphan or, burned with 3 heads. It's like, it should be called America's Got Struggles. It's really like that. The backstory matters. So being a white middle-class boy, my story wasn't as good as another comedian who used to be homeless. So, all right, he's going to go the next level, that. So no, they made me look good. It was, there were like 12 million people who saw me that didn't know who I was before. I got to see my old pal Tyra Banks, who was hosting that year. We worked together on the Jamie Foxx thing, and hadn't seen each other since, so that was a fun reunion with her. And it was a good experience, a nice little piece of tape. But, a few people saw my pundit that never saw it before and know who I am, and that was it. But I survived it. It was good. I don't know how they're doing it now with the,
they're doing it, because it's done with Universal Pictures, which is the owner of the company of NBC.
Yeah.
They have an elaborate staging, and it's beautiful. They go on location for some of the acts, and they also have a beautiful staging so that it looks like it's a major motion picture.
Right.
And when you have the production is king, not content. The content's nothing. It's a circus. It's all free. It's a freak show.
You're absolutely right. One of the things I will say, having been on the show, it is one of the most advanced productions I've ever seen in my life. It is a well-oiled machine. There's so many working parts. I did hours and hours and hours of footage. I mean, they only show 2.5, 3 minutes of it. But interviews, and when we were on the Universal Backlight, I'm standing on the set where they filmed Back to the Future, and they're filming me, and people are in the tour van driving by waving at me like I'm a celebrity while they're filming me, and it was, so that part of it was a really cool experience that you're filming in such a historic place. But no, you're absolutely right. It is an incredible production. Seeing it up close, I was really impressed. You're absolutely right.
The show business part is the show. The business part is what we fail at.
There's no show without the business.
I got three clicks and a check from the government.
Yes.
Are you sagging after? You still keep up with your union?
I am. I haven't. I'm not doing much. I'm in the union, of course. In fact, I just got my new SAG card today. I am in the union, but no parts right now. I haven't done. I occasionally do some voiceover work, commercials and stuff. I've only been on a couple of auditions. It's really slow, obviously, but I think slowly it's starting to pick up. They've figured out ways to do it, but you're doing it online now with new technology and not going into the city. So yeah, but it definitely slowed. That was another part of my income, was the occasional voiceover jobs, and that's kind of not happening either. I'm telling you, truck driving school, I think, is going to be my.
Well, yeah,
These
you mentioned that enough
they're not
times.
going out of work.
I think you should talk to your girlfriend about being Peterbilt. But you
Peter
know,
Bills.
when you have this, when you
I
have
prefer
this,
Mac, Joey. I
Yeah.
prefer Mac.
when you have this imitation part of your act, which we haven't touched on that. I love when you do all the instruments, and you gotta give us that before you leave here. All
Oh,
right?
sure,
A little
sure,
bit of it.
absolutely, a little bit,
So let's have Stephen Scott
a little bit.
and his orchestra.
Well, I'll tell you, the story was, I might as well tell it. We're in long form here. When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to have musical instruments. I grew up in an apartment building. So every time I used to ask my mom for an instrument, she said, no, you cannot have a musical instrument. We live in an apartment building. It's going to be too loud. You're going to disturb the neighbors. No. And so I go to all my friends got real cool musical instruments. My friend Doug got a drum set for his birthday. We'd sit and play in the drum set. And I'd come home and I didn't have a drum set, so I'd nag my mom, I want a drum set. Doug said, no, sweetie, you cannot have a drum set. We live in an apartment. It's going to be too loud. You're going to disturb the neighbors. No. So I'd sit there and I'd go into my room, and with my imagination and my voice, I just had to get all the sounds right. Now I'd sit there and I'd be like, it's like a poof. That's not going to sound right on the computer, but it's like poof, poof, poof. I'd start playing. Then my friend Dave, he played trumpet in the band at school. So he'd let me try the trumpet. I was god awful on the trumpet. I sucked on the trumpet. Then he explained to me, you're supposed to blow into it. And so I'd come home and he'd do scales, and I just, with my voice, try and imitate and keep up with what he's doing. We'd do scales together, like. You see what I mean? I do, saxophones, harmonicas. And all the a little better when I probably have the mic up to my face, but I've gotten to a point now where I jam with real musicians. I have a headset mic, and I'll stand with the real guy and the real guitar and the real trumpet player, and I'll do it with a 9-piece orchestra, and we'll jam for real, and it blows people's minds. So here it was, learning to do it with my voice was good enough. I've had people say, "Dude, you're better than our real guitar player," So.
Well, you're great. We love you, and I want to thank you for all of this time today.
Of course,
because I know you're booked and busy and have so many things going. And,
it's not the employment part, but I try to. It's the thing that keeps me from going insane, is just to keep my sanity. I try to make sure I'm keeping busy. But no, I tell you, it's been a treat. I love you guys. We go way back, and to the WOR days and WABC days, and then the TV show on New York Nonstop, which we did in Times Square, which was
the first Peacock. That was the Peacock Network.
Yes, it was. It was the New York Nonstop. It was a digital fun show to do that. And I found, I think you sent a few out of those, not like earlier this year, and I remember seeing some that I'd forgotten about that were great. And so we've been together a long time, and it's always when you call up and you say, it's like playing again. It's like getting together with the neighborhood kids and just jamming. And I'm glad that even a COVID-19 can't keep us from finding a way to get together and having some fun and kibitzing with the gang.
Well, Jay and I have we have a full-time job in Lakewood, which is the Lower Borscht Belt. What we've done is we have some COVID masks that convert to yarmulkes.
Oh, there you go.
That's great. And we've been very busy in the Hasidim community, right, Jay?
Yeah, right. I've become a loyal.
Fortune. I don't know. Are they wearing them? I don't know if they're wearing them.
No. Say hello to Marvin and your father, Marvin Scott. I know you hate when I mention it, but I love your dad.
No, absolutely. We can talk about it. He's the best. No, I always gave you crap when you'd introduce me that as a credit.
Well, he was one of the best journalists, newsmen in the world ever.
You know what? I'm so proud of him. He's still working full time. He's the most senior broadcast guy in New York. We were just talking today, in fact, and someone had asked me, about the presidents he's met. He's met every president like since Truman, and he's telling me all the stories, taking a leak next to John Kennedy and just, all these things. But I call him, he's like the Forrest Gump of news. I mean, you go into his office and see the photographs, and one of my personal favorites, it's just a mind-blowing picture. And so is him with Martin Luther King. He marched with him in Mississippi in 1966, and to see that picture of the two of them, and it's like, wow. And my dad's got a picture literally where he's sitting in one photo, he's sitting next to Golda Meir, and in the next photo, he's sitting next to Yasser Arafat. Now that pretty much says it all right there. You know, that's the range of people that he's interacted with in his career. So yeah, I'm proud of him. I think it keeps him going. If he was retired, I don't think he'd last very long. So I'm glad they're still keeping him busy. He's learned how to do it from home now, because now they do it now. They do the shows from home. You know, reporting from my living room. I'm Marvin Scott. You know, but he's got the technology down. He still wears a suit and tie, even though he's in his living room. It's great. You know, he's a pro. He's a pro.
Well, I love your family, and thank you, Steve, for being with us.
Of course, Joey.
Stephen Scott.
Hi. And always good to see you guys. Stay safe, and let's keep in touch. And hopefully, we'll do this again in person when this thing blows over.
And let a smile be your umbrella. The rain stopped. Let a smile be your umbrella, and don't get a mouthful of rain.